Hi, I'm Shane Jett. I'm the senator from Senate District 17, which covers Shawnee, Dale, McLeod, Luther, Oakdale, and Edmond, Jones, Hara, Choctaw, Newalla, Nakoma Park. So some of the legislative initiatives that I've been focusing on is trying to roll back the overstep of state, federal, and local governments with regard to the response to the coronavirus, shutting down business inappropriately, terrifying the populace about the coronavirus, and making sure that mask mandates are a thing of the past, and making sure that you have the freedom to wear a mask if you choose or not wear a mask if you choose. And also, we're running a piece of legislation this week, House Bill 2335 by Representative Jay Stegall, and I'm the Senate author, to make sure that no government can mandate that you have to take a vaccine. If you want to take a vaccine, you're free to do that, but if you do not want to, the government can't force you to do so. Again, standing up for freedoms of the American population is something that I think is vital and is a Republican principle. So that's something that we're focusing on that's happening in real time right now. I've just sent a request to the chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee to hear that bill. Hopefully we'll have a hearing soon. So working on that. Another initiative that we're doing is trying to reverse critical race theory. It's basically a platform that pretends to have an honest dialogue about race, but instead actually creates anxiety and hostility between races by fixating on race issues and literally calling the federal government out, the United States system of government, as being fundamentally racist to its core and unredeemably racist. And so also splitting out portions of the United States to be in conflict with each other based solely on the color of their skin instead of the content of their character. So we're trying to make sure that tax dollars are not being used to indoctrinate children, to terrify children in the classroom by these theories being taught to children that by virtue of the color of their skin, they're culpable on a personal level for anything that has been done untoward in their past. So we're trying to make sure that psychological abuse is not being perpetrated on children in public schools at taxpayers' expense. So a lot of attempts to try to make sure that our children are protected, our elders are protected, and our citizens are protected, and their freedoms are protected. And that's kind of what happens here in the Oklahoma legislature. Other things that we're looking at in this legislative session is the incredible increase in utility prices because of the speculation in the spot market on fuel and natural gas that has happened. This is something that we have been meeting with the Corporation Commission, with the Attorney General, with the Southwest Power Pool, trying to make sure that there's not $1,000 charge in your bills for natural gas that you may have used during the time we had 7 days of sub-zero weather here in Oklahoma. So we're working on that. We're also looking at trying to retool the formula so that we have a formula that tracks students in the classroom to the funding that goes with that student. And that's House Bill 2078, I believe. That is Senator Zach Taylor's bill. And it's basically trying to make sure that we have, instead of a 3-year look back, we have a 2-year look back, because there's been a lot of shift because of COVID in who's in what school districts. There's been some shifts, some of the virtual schools. We just want to make sure that it's an accurate representation so that the state formula isn't paying for 2 kids in the same school systems, but is getting it closer to actually real-time allocations of funding to the students. So that's something that we're working on. It's quite I've been hearing a lot of feedback from school administrators, from teachers, from parents, and our job is to make sure that the taxpayer, the one who's paying for all of it, is that their interests are represented. And we're hearing from the schools they'd like to have a 3-year look back, the highest enrollment so that they have the maximum flexibility as they budget for the future. But we find that, one, that's a little bit unrealistic, and I would love to have the highest 3-year look back, but that often means that you're paying for students or getting funded for students who are not physically in your school. So we're trying to find out what's the best formula to provide the flexibility for superintendents to be able to budget for the year's expenses, but also to make sure that the taxpayer who's paying for it aren't doubly paying for students that are being counted in 2 different school systems. So our responsibility is to you, the taxpayer. You can count on us and count on me as your senator to always be sure that the voice of the taxpayer is what I bring to the table. I'm not here to represent unions. I'm not here to represent businesses. I'm not here to represent state agencies. I'm here to represent the taxpayer. So know that if I'm at the table, I'm thinking about you. I'm trying to hold accountable state agencies and the other stakeholders at the table to make sure that your voice is represented in that dialogue. So be sure to reach out to me, contact us here at my office. I look forward to hearing from you, and you can be assured that as your state senator, the taxpayer will always have a voice when I'm at the table.